Okay. Well, thank you everybody for coming to our next class on motivation. I wanted to recap from our last two sessions real quick. The first session, we talked about cultivating motivation, that motivation is an emotion that we can cultivate using our body, our mind, and confidence levels. And I was just curious while we start off, have any of you who were in attendance the first couple sessions practice cultivating motivation using any of these techniques? If you could put in the chat box if you used your body to boost motivation, or if you used your mind to think about what motivated you at all, did you try that? If you recognized your confidence, yourself completing one small, teeny tiny habit or task, did it work? Did you try it? Did it not work? Can you put in the chat box if you tried any of these ways on how you cultivated motivation? So I will share while you guys are typing. Last week, somebody did reach out about hoping that class could end on time because meetings stopped starting at the top of the hour. And I did think about what I did feel motivated to make sure that we start and end on time so that everybody can get all of the content from this meeting. And I thought about why am I motivated to do that? Because this was a good example to use. I hope that people will continue to attend this class and not be discouraged because they're missing the very end. So that motivated me. That was a hope. Me thinking about my mindset. I had a hope that this class would grow in attendance, hopefully. And also, I don't want to be rejected. So I want to be accepted. And those two things motivate me to make sure that I'm creating content that fits within the time allotted. And so, how about you guys? Have you had anything that you've had to become motivated to do? Okay, stretching and moving is one that somebody put in the chat box. Thank you. So keep those coming and be thinking about if you have not tried any of these ways to cultivate motivation, think about how you can do that or how you plan to do it in the coming week before next week's class. Another recap of the last session we had was setting goals and how goals can help us stay motivated because it gives us a vision of what we're working towards. And you should set a goal that you are motivated to do, to work on, that a goal that you are motivated already to do. Some goals you're not motivated to do. Select a goal that you are already motivated to do, that you are capable of doing, and that you can set triggers to do. It's not going to help in setting goals and triggers at a time when you can't actually do them or follow through on the behaviors to do those. So we were going to set goals at the end of last session. So if you set any goals, think about those. If you have not set any goals yet for whatever it is that you're wanting to increase motivation in, whether that's work, your health, exercise, nutrition, sleep, whatever it is that you feel you are excited to start doing, definitely go ahead and write those down somewhere. All right, today we are talking about intrinsic motivation and the fun factor. So what is intrinsic motivation? It is when our actions are driven by internal rewards. So inside yourself, where there's not any external rewards that are obviously motivating you. So sometimes there are external that aren't quite so obvious. But what is extrinsic motivation? That's the opposite of intrinsic. Extrinsic is when there are external rewards motivating you. So you wanting to get a raise, that would be an extrinsic reward. A bonus, that's an extrinsic reward. Losing weight, that's an extrinsic reward. Winning a prize because you participated in a program, or being recognized by your peers because you are seen in the gym and working hard, so those would all be external and extrinsic motivators. Intrinsic motivators are driven internally, and really those come from the feelings of enjoyment. or seeing an activity as an opportunity to explore, learn, actualize, and become whatever it is that you have envisioned. That would be an intrinsic motivation. And fun is a really big piece to feeling that intrinsic motivation. I know it sounds crazy because we don't always think about fun in today's fast-paced world. Um, but adding a fun factor to your goal will help you to feel more intrinsically motivated to take action on those goals when you don't feel like it. So, adding enjoyment, adding happiness or satisfaction, giving yourself a fun factor of meaning and fulfillment, meaningful activities, those will really help to boost your motivation. Also, something that you feel excited or fun growing in or interested in, or that you have positive emotions around, those are all ways to add a fun factor into whatever your goal may be. So, there are some ways to add that in. You can add a challenge. You can add a control element where you get to control something that might be fun for you. Adding cooperation in with others and a social element might be fun for you. Adding competition might be fun. I know I am not a competitive person, but my son is. Like, it's one of his top 5 values. And he for him, competition is so fun and it drives him and it motivates him. Curiosity. And I will say, competition with other people does add an extrinsic motivation, but even competition with yourself, that's where it becomes more intrinsic. So even just competition with your own self and where you were and where you want to be. Curiosity and recognition are all additional ways to add a fun factor. Some of those intrinsic and some can be extrinsic. So when you add fun for your goals, there are a few things to consider here. So you might be stuck in determining, okay, Alita, my goal is to log my foods. How in the world do I make that fun? Because it is not feeling fun when I'm writing down how many calories or macros and were in a certain food. Well, you may be able to generate some of that motivation and fun around that control aspect. If you are somebody who finds control fun, but some unique ways to add fun to it are to think about, what did you enjoy as a preteen? Think about the 5 senses that you have and also try to increase laughter. Those are like probably my 3 top tips to start to brainstorm how you can add fun into your goal setting and in your activities that you're trying to pursue and be motivated to do. So I'm going to use the example of exercise for this first bullet here. What did you enjoy as a preteen? So when you were 10, what activity did you like to do? Did you like roller skating, dancing, hiking, riding bikes, swimming at the pool? What was it that you really enjoyed as a 10-year-old when it came to physical activity? Go ahead and put that in the chat box. It could be riding horses, going bowling, playing on a team sport. What was it? Put that in the chat box. What did you enjoy when you were like 10 or 12? When it came to physical activity? For myself, I enjoyed dancing. I also really enjoyed softball. I would throw the ball for hours in the summer. I just loved throwing and catching the ball. But okay, so using some of these examples that are coming in. So I see roller skating is in the chat box. Be thinking about, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to go and roller skate and be concerned that you are going to break your wrist next week. Okay, so I'm not telling you have to go roller skate to add the fun factor and feel motivated. That doesn't have to be the exact situation. But once you think about what it was that you were motivated to do, think about the senses that were involved in that activity, and also the social interaction that was involved in that. Were there a lot of people there or not? Was there a coach or not? Was there music? What was the lighting like? Were you indoors or outdoors? And as you think about uh, those aspects to what you enjoyed back then, you can start to implement some of those fun things that were a part of that into what you're doing now. So I really enjoyed being outside throwing the ball around. So instead of doing my workouts inside, I really find it good to do it outside and doing something that I'm capable of doing and I enjoy doing, so try to replicate some of those things that you thought about when you were 10 or 12 that really stood out to you. Consider those five senses again. What are you seeing? What are you feeling? Who's around you? Um, is there music or not? And so on. And try to recreate some of those fun factors into your activity. Going back to logging foods as an example, if anybody had a goal where you were wanting to log foods, one thing that you could do for that is add music to the situation or add a healthy snack while you're logging your foods and you get to go and log it. Um, or just be thinking about, do you have a diffuser where you have some really calming scent or something that you're diffusing that gets you, that you diffuse that while you are doing your food log. So just be thinking about how can you add a little bit of enjoyment to your situation. So again, reduce the seriousness, increase your laughter. Time flies when you're having fun. And just another reminder that, having fun is the quote here that we have on the screen. Having fun is not a diversion from a successful life. It is the pathway to it. So when you have these goals, try to weave in that fun. And I will leave you on the last quote from Gretchen Rubin. What you do every day matters more than what you do once in a while. So try to remember to make a goal or whatever it is that you're wanting to increase your motivation in so small. Celebrate that confidence that you have because it's so small. Do it and complete it each day you can. And I would say 3 to 4 days a week is considered doing it consistently. So when we say every day, it doesn't have to be exactly every day, but at least 3 to 4 days a week is a majority. If you're going in a 5-day work week and you have a work related goal, I would say 3 out of the 5 days is necessary for it to be considered consistent. If it's the 7 days, 4 days should be how many days you're focusing on it to stay consistent. Then you can celebrate those small successes. And that confidence, again, goes back to our earlier slide, that cultivates motivation. So, how can you add fun into your motivating task, and add a fun factor to boost your motivation? Be thinking about that this week. I hope you'll attend next week and let us know. But if you happen to have an idea off the top of your head, go ahead and share it in the chat box. So we just have a minute left. If Jenny, I saw that you said being on a team sport and that you ran track and field. If you had a goal, do you add or does that motivate you, anything from there that you felt really motivated you that you would include into your motivation plan now to cultivate motivation, Jenny? Would it be coaching or running? You just know that the competition, what is it from that was fun for you?
I'm definitely competitive. So it would definitely be that aspect of, competing and, going for the gold. And I was
Yeah.
also on like the relay team, so that being able to collaborate with the team as well did help. So definitely being competitive.
Okay, thanks for sharing. Yeah. So as you can see there, and I'll kind of go back to the slide here. there are some of these aspects that can add the fun factor to it to help cultivate some of these things that bring fun, enjoyment, happiness. When you add the challenge or control, cooperation, competition, curiosity, and recognition, those can all help to add a fun element to this. So thank you all for attending. Thanks, Jenny, for sharing. And we'll see you next Wednesday for your midweek motivation. We'll see you later.